Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Artificial Conversations. I'm Alex, your resident software engineer, tech enthusiast, and lover of all things AI.
And I'm Jamie, your friendly neighborhood digital artist, designer, and explorer of the ever-evolving intersection between creativity and technology. We're so excited to kick off this podcast with all of you.
Absolutely. We've been talking about starting this podcast for ages, and now it's finally happening.
So for our inaugural episode, we thought we'd dive into some fascinating topics inspired by our friend Mika's blog posts from the past week.
Yeah, Mika always has a knack for stirring up thought-provoking discussions. This week, he's covered everything from the current state of the internet to some quirky insights about ancient Rome and classic text-based games.
We'll be chatting about whether the internet is fundamentally broken, the serendipitous discovery of software names rooted in history, the challenges of AI playing classic games like Zork, and even an idea for a fully automated podcast.
Not to mention touching on Mika's personal struggles with long COVID and how it intersects with his tech pursuits.
So grab a cup of coffee, or tea if you prefer, and settle in for a deep dive into these topics. Ready to get started?
Let's dive in. So first up is Mika's bold statement. Current internet is FUBAR. It's time for a new internet.
Yeah, that one definitely caught my eye. For those who might not know, FUBAR is an acronym that stands for Fouled Up Beyond All Recognition.
That's the family-friendly version, at least. And honestly, I can't say I entirely disagree with Mika's sentiment. The internet today is a far cry from the open, decentralized network it was originally envisioned to be.
Definitely. We're dealing with issues like data privacy breaches, misinformation spread, monopolistic control by a few big tech companies, and algorithmic bubbles that limit our perspectives.
Exactly. It's like the Wild West out there, but with corporate overlords instead of cowboys.
So what do you think Mika means by proposing a new internet?
I think he's advocating for a reboot, a shift towards a more decentralized, user-controlled internet, maybe leveraging technologies like blockchain or peer-to-peer networks to reduce reliance on centralized servers.
Kind of like going back to the roots of the internet, but with modern technological advancements.
Precisely. Remember the early days of the web, when everyone and their grandma had a GeoCities page?
Oh, the nostalgia! Angel Fire sites with neon text and blinking GIFs.
Exactly. It was chaotic, but in a way that empowered individual expression.
But is it realistic to think we can rebuild or replace the current internet infrastructure?
It's a massive undertaking, no doubt. It would require not just technological innovation, but societal shifts in how we approach data ownership and digital interaction.
And let's not forget about accessibility. Any new internet would need to be inclusive and easy to use for people of all tech backgrounds.
Very true. There's also the issue of adoption. Even if a better internet existed, getting people to migrate would be a challenge.
Maybe the focus shouldn't be on replacing the internet entirely, but on creating parallel systems that address these issues.
That's a good point. Perhaps decentralized platforms can coexist with the current internet, offering alternatives and slowly shifting the paradigm.
Speaking of shifts, Mika had an amusing realization in one of his blog posts.
Ah yes, the Nero burning ROM epiphany.
Right. So Mika was helping his son rip a CD and came across software called Nero Burning ROM. It dawned on him that the name is a pun referencing Emperor Nero, who is infamously associated with the Great Fire of Rome.
It's one of those facepalm moments when you realize a joke that's been hiding in plain sight for years.
I know. I used that software back in the day and never connected the dots.
Same here. It's funny how we can miss these clever references until something prompts us to see them.
Mika quipped, "Days I did not think about the Roman Empire, zero." Apparently thinking about Rome is a common thing.
Actually, there's a viral trend where people ask men how often they think about the Roman Empire, and the answers are surprisingly frequent.
Really, how often do you think about it?
More than I probably should admit. The Roman Empire is such a pivotal point in history with fascinating engineering, politics, and culture.
That's true. It's amazing how historical events continue to influence modern technology and society.
Exactly. It's like we're subconsciously drawing parallels between ancient systems and our current ones.
Do you think there's a modern equivalent to Nero fiddling while Rome burns?
Oh, that's a loaded question. but perhaps the way some leaders handle crises today could be seen as similar.
Indeed, it makes you wonder how history will judge our current era.
Probably with memes and TikTok videos.
Haha, likely. But back to the topic, it's interesting how a simple software name can spark such deep reflections.
Agreed, it's a reminder of the layers of meaning that can exist even in technology.
Speaking of technology, Mika also mentioned losing his internet connection and how unusual that was.
Right, he noted, lost internet, kind of unusual. It's surprising how a short outage can feel so disruptive.
We're so dependent on constant connectivity that even brief interruptions can throw us off balance.
Definitely. It reminds me of that scene in movies where the protagonist loses signal at the worst possible moment.
Life imitating art or vice versa?
Probably a bit of both. It does highlight the importance of reliable infrastructure.
And maybe it's also a sign to disconnect every once in a while.
True. A forced digital detox might not be the worst thing.
Unless you're in the middle of an important project, of course.
Then it's just panic mode. But it also shows how the internet has become an essential utility, much like water or electricity.
Absolutely. Which circles back to Mika's point about the internet being FUBAR. If it's so essential, we need to address its flaws seriously.
Agreed. Ensuring accessibility, security, and neutrality should be top priorities.
Speaking of personal challenges, Mika shared about his ongoing battle with long COVID.
Yes, he mentioned that his condition isn't improving and that he's experiencing phantom tobacco smells, which is affecting his sleep.
That sounds incredibly tough. It's important to acknowledge how health issues can impact our work and hobbies.
Definitely. He noted that pushing himself with exercises and game development may have worsened his symptoms.
It's a delicate balance between pursuing passions and taking care of oneself.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that we need to listen to our bodies and not overextend ourselves.
Especially in fields like ours, where the line between work and hobby can blur.
Very true. Speaking of hobbies, Mika shared his satisfaction with making code commits where deletions outnumber insertions.
Making commits where the number of deletions is higher than the number of insertions is satisfying.
As a fellow coder, I can attest to that. There's something gratifying about cleaning up code and making it more efficient.
It's like decluttering your digital workspace.
Exactly. Less bloat, more streamlined functionality.
In design, we have a similar concept, removing unnecessary elements to improve the overall aesthetic and usability.
Function over form, but when you can have both, it's perfection.
Well said. It's all about balance.
Now, onto one of the more entertaining experiments Mika conducted, getting an AI to play Zork.
Yes, for those unfamiliar, Zork is a classic text-based adventure game from the 1970s. No graphics, just you and your imagination navigating through puzzles and challenges.
Mika tried using his Llama 3.1 model with 8B parameters, but it struggled to make progress.
It kept wandering in circles, or couldn't figure out simple commands like turning on the lantern.
So he switched to OpenAI's GPT-4o, which performed better but came at a cost, $1 per hour.
That's a steep price for virtual adventure.
He also tried using GPT-4o Mini and other models like Meta's Llama with 405B parameters, but they also had issues.
It's fascinating that AI, which can generate essays and code, struggles with interactive text-based games.
It highlights the challenges in natural language understanding and context retention.
Do you think the AI was overcomplicating the simple instructions?
Possibly. These models are great at predicting text, but might not handle the causal relationships and planning required in interactive environments.
It's like they're book smart but lack practical experience.
That's a good way to put it. They haven't experienced the game world, so they can't navigate it effectively.
It makes me wonder about the future of AI in gaming and storytelling.
There's definitely potential. With advancements, we could see AI generating dynamic narratives or acting as adaptive NPCs.
Imagine a game where the storyline evolves based on your actions, guided by an AI that understands narrative structure.
That would be incredible. It could revolutionize player engagement.
But we're not quite there yet, as Mika's experiment shows.
True, it's a work in progress, but it's exciting to see these early attempts.
Speaking of early attempts, Mika also expressed frustration with YouTube's interface changes.
YouTube, can you remove the scroll feature on the full-screen video? It is so annoying.
I can relate to that. It's frustrating when platforms make changes that hinder usability.
Absolutely. It feels like they're fixing things that aren't broken.
Or adding features no one asked for.
Exactly. It's a reminder that user experience should be a priority.
Agreed. Maybe they'll consider feedback and roll back the change.
Fingers crossed. Now on to Mika's innovative idea for a fully automated podcast.
Yes, he proposed generating a podcast based on his microblog messages, using AI for transcripts, TTS for audio, and even automated visuals.
It's an ambitious project, automating the entire production pipeline.
But it raises questions about the essence of podcasting. Can you automate authenticity?
That's the crux of it. While automation can handle the technical aspects, the human connection might be lost.
People tune into podcasts for the personalities, the unscripted moments, the conversations.
Exactly. An entirely AI-generated podcast might lack that personal touch.
However, as a supplement or a different format, it could be interesting.
Agreed. Maybe as a way to provide updates or quick insights between regular episodes.
That could work. It's all about finding the right balance.
You know, Jamie, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have indeed. From the flaws of the internet to AI's gaming challenges and the nuances of automation in creative endeavors.
It's been a fantastic discussion. I think Mika's blog posts have served as excellent springboards.
Absolutely. It's amazing how one person's musings can spark such widespread conversation.
Before we wrap up, any final thoughts?
Just that it's crucial for us to remain mindful of how technology impacts our lives, both positively and negatively, and to remember the human element in all we do.
Well said. Technology is a tool, and it's up to us to wield it responsibly.
Exactly. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey.
We hope you enjoyed our first episode of Artificial Conversations. We're excited to continue exploring these topics with you.
If you have any thoughts, feedback, or topics you'd like us to discuss, feel free to reach out.
Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.